Are you a professional pillow fighter? Or a 9-to-5 low-cost time travel agent? Or maybe real estate sales on Mars is your profession? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, however complex or intricate, Monday.com can help you organize, orchestrate, and make it more efficient. Monday.com is the one centralized platform for everything work-related. And with Monday.com, work is just easier. Monday.com, for whatever you run. Go to Monday.com to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Merrill. Join one of the most iconic names in wealth management, Merrill. You'll be part of a dynamic team of advisors and specialists working hard every day to grow their clients' wealth. And with the support of best-in-class research, advanced digital tools, and the resources of a global institution, it's truly an opportunity you can be bullish about. Learn more at careers.bankofamerica.com. Copyright 2024, Bank of America Corporation.
Welcome back to another episode of Investies. I'm your host, Linda Garcia. This week on the podcast, we are going to take a look at how stocks performed in the month of October. We're also going to take a look at some data that just came through from the ADP jobs report. And we have a massive strike that is taking place in the East and Gulf Coast ports. This is important because it can potentially affect our economy. September is known to be the worst month of the year. However, September in the market this year performed exceptionally well. We saw a massive increase towards the end of September with new all-time highs. The Dow Jones came in at 3.4% increase. S&P 500 came in with a 3.25 increase, and the NASDAQ increased by 4.52%. The NASDAQ was the one that had the most recovery needed back when the stock market came down in August. So we have reached new all-time highs. However, we now have news that has unfortunately impacted the market and has made it somewhat volatile to kick off the month of October. Before we get into that, I really quickly just want to check to see where we are year to date. So the Dow is up 11.9%. S&P is up 20.41%. And the NASDAQ is up 21.52%. Year to date, the stock market is on absolute fire. I always like to remind you all that we can expect for the market to grow anywhere from 5 to 8% a year. The fact that the S&P 500 is up 20% and the NASDAQ is up 21% is pretty incredible. It's a strong reminder that we need to make sure that we're investing into the market. Also want to remind you that your savings account is only garnering you 0.5% interest. Let's move forward into the month of October. I'm recording this episode on October 2nd. This is a Wednesday. And already in just 2 days for the month of October, we have news that has made the market extremely volatile. Geopolitical issues are escalating between Iran and Israel. We did see the market react to this yesterday. It was, of course, negatively impacted, but I think it's worth me noting that we did see rallies with energy stocks and defense stocks. Some of the energy stocks that we saw benefiting from what is taking place geopolitically is New Fortress Energy up 6%, APA Corporation up 5%, Halliburton up 3%, Occidental Petroleum up 3%, and Hess up 2%. And then for the defense stocks that are benefiting from this geopolitical news is Lockheed Martin up 3.6%, Northrop Grumman up 3%, L3 Harris Technologies up 3%. Before I get into the next topic, I did want to share that these episodes are not highly pre-produced. They are not scripted. As a matter of fact, 90% of the time when I wake up on production day, I have no clue what the podcast is going to be about. I am typically ingesting information 5 days a week. Once I get to my desk and it's time to record, I assess what has happened and I make a decision on what the episode will be about. I do want to disclose that when it comes to geopolitical issues, it is a very touchy subject for me. I don't want to get into them deeply. I don't want to discuss them for my own personal mental health. I do think it's disgusting that there are stocks that benefit from tragedies happening, and this is just the matter of fact. And I don't want to hide that from you. I don't want to ignore it. I feel it is my responsibility to disclose it. And so I just want to make you aware of that. I did have to record the section right before this one where I talk about the geopolitical issues several times because of the way my voice sounds or my energy is low. It's a very tough topic for me to report on. This, of course, always throws me into a moment of panic or stress when I have to talk about it publicly. But I do want for us to understand how the market benefits, how it moves with things that take place globally. And so with that, I just want to say that when it comes to geopolitics, I want to remain as brief as possible and just stick to what this podcast is about, which is a podcast dedicated on demystifying information that is really challenging to process when it comes to the economy and when it comes to the stock market. And these two things, the more that I learn, I understand that it is truly what makes the United States of America thrive. And it is a complete disservice when we don't have access to the information or we can't process or understand or digest the information.
Time to play Best Fins, a match game with a zest. Among millions of players, can you become the best? No need to invest. Your free download awaits. With 9,000 levels, you'll be quite impressed. No Wi-Fi needed, just be our guest. At Best Fins, you'll be gaming at your best. Download Best Fins for free now. No need to wait. Wait? That doesn't rhyme. Never mind. Download Best Fins, it's great. Available in App Store and Google Play.
Mothers know all about life's tricky transitions. Thankfully, Ollie helps you prioritize wellness through every age, life stage, or magnificent mood change. Need a multitasking multivitamin that keeps up with you? How about an essential prenatal for you and baby? Ollie's got you through it all. Life's tricky. Your wellness routine shouldn't be. Get what you need at ollie.com.
We received positive job reports data. ADP, or automatic data processing, is a report that is created in collaboration with Stanford. It does report on private employment changes based on actual payroll data. I really like the ADP report. We do have a massive standard job report that is going to be released on Friday, which most analysts typically tend to lean on. The ADP and Stanford report is much newer. I personally prefer the data from this report because it is actually pulling data from real employment database. So this report is released on a monthly basis. And this week, I feel like we performed exceptionally well. Our numbers for the week came in at 143,000 jobs added to our economy. This is great because analysts were actually expecting 124,000 jobs. So we are over on what was predicted by the analysts. And when we compare this number to the previous month, we have a pretty significant uptick of 40,000 jobs. Previous month, we came in at 103,000 jobs. This is great. However, there is a caveat. When we look at the report a little closer, we do notice that the wages have come down. So while we did increase significantly in jobs, we also decreased in wages. Let's take a closer look at what that wage decrease looks like. So for the last 12 months, those that stayed in their jobs took a hit of 4.7% decrease in wages, while job switchers took a hit of 6.6% decrease in wages. To put this all into perspective, when we compare this to August, we're looking at a 0.7 percentage down. And then let's take a look at what categories increased. These seem pretty consistent with what we've been seeing, and I want to say the last 3 to 4 years. Leisure and hospitality is the leader, coming in at 34,000, followed by construction coming in at 26,000. And then we have education and health services with 24,000 jobs added, and professional and business services with 20,000. And then other services came in at 17,000. Information services continues to be a loser, posting losses down 10,000 jobs. Yes, we posted positive job growth for this week, but we also want to take a look at the types of jobs that are increasing, and then, of course, paying attention to our wages that continue dropping. Now, speaking about wages, that moves me on to our next topic. We have a pretty serious strike that is currently taking place. On Tuesday, we had a massive port strike. 50,000 members of the International Longshoremen's Association, also known as the ILA, went on strike along the East Coast and Texas. They are seeking a pay increase of 61.5%. While strikes overall have a massive impact, I think this is probably the one that could cause absolute chaos in terms of our economy. Let me explain why. Moody's just released an updated report. If you all remember, Moody's is the company that also analyzes the credit score of the United States of America, amongst other things. We have spoken about Moody's in the past. Moody's released this report that is letting us know that this could impact us, or at least impact our GDP, by as much as $2 billion a day. And that's not even taking into account how it's going to potentially reignite inflation if it goes for too long. The issue here is that it's going to impact the supply chain. And so when it impacts the supply chain, this means that demand will go up, supply is going to shrink, and prices will start to increase. It's being reported that we have already begun to see price increases as of yesterday, Tuesday. This can undo all of the work that Fed Chair Powell has done to lower interest rates. From all of the reports I am reading, the way I understand this is a week of a strike from our International Longshoremen's Association is way too long, and anything longer than a week could truly cause chaos. All of this starts to get really complicated because the longer that the shoremen are on strike, the potential that all of the ports have to increase costs on the freight that they currently hold. So there is no incentive from the port to get a deal done fast because they are going to benefit from the strike. As I mentioned earlier, the ILA members are seeking a 61.5% increase in their wages. Now, their positioning on this is they are seeking a part of the company's profits because the company has automated parts of the port, meaning that they are now using machinery and they are no longer hiring people and paying out wages to execute specific jobs on the port. And so the shoremen that are still working there are wanting to also benefit from some of the money that the company is saving for not having to pay wages. This feels like there isn't going to be a resolution soon because the ports are saying that if they increase wages, that they will most definitely increase the prices on freights and pass that down to their customers. And then, of course, those costs will be passed down to the consumer. So it looks like price increases may be ahead of us no matter what. There is a way to potentially stop the strike and eliminate any economic chaos. This is via a Taft-Hartley Act that President Joe Biden can enact. He has already been asked to enact this act, but he has, of course, said that he's not going to invoke it, that he is going to stand behind union workers. This is a position that he has taken for a while now. If you remember, he picketed with union workers, something that we've never seen a president do. So I don't think that that's a possibility. Hopefully they come to a resolution soon. Otherwise, we could be facing economic chaos for sure. I hate to leave this on such an awkward note, like there's really no end. I wish I could be more positive. We have news that is coming out, I feel like almost every other hour. And so all of this is developing. As I mentioned, I hope they can come to a resolution. As we take in all of this information, it's so important to not emotionally connect to it. It's important to disassociate and look at this as like a case study. I love looking at experiences like this and things that are going on as case studies. What can I learn from them and how can I apply what I've learned to my own personal career or how I am strategizing? That's the best that I got. That's the most positive note I can leave you on. Thank you so much for listening to Investies. If you're enjoying this podcast, please head over to Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the podcast, and also leave us a rating and a review. I'm your host, Linda Garcia. Investies is a Cosmic Standard and In Luz We Trust production. A special thank you to the team, Asia Simpson, Eliza Smith, and Jacob Winnick.
O'Reilly. Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people. O'Reilly.